Hey gang, here's another great tip for raising kids. For most parents, it is a natural impulse to create a thriving environment for their children. In order to do this, parents make many sacrifices of time, energy, and money, all directed towards their child. But there is one gift that actually means more than anything else we can possibly do for them, and that is the gift we would like to remind you about today. It's the gift of a mother and a father who love each other, who are deeply committed to each other, and who put the good of their marriage before the want of their children. Before the first baby came along, all that couple had was each other. Their marriage was the center point of all other human relationships. Then along came Junior. Suddenly, this needy, dependent little creature changed the whole rhythm of life in the home. Spontaneity was exchanged for feeding time and nap schedules, and eventually soccer games and taxi duty. All energy exerted was focused on taking care of kids' issues, and romantic interludes faded away into perfunctory obligation. Without realizing it, a family that started out marriage-centered became child-centered. While this is common and understandable, it is not a good thing. And many times after the children are no longer dependent, many couples feel that their relationship has become empty, as if they don't even know or value each other anymore, except in their role as a parent. So, how does a couple remove the spell cast upon them by parenthood and be a living example of a healthy marriage? Here are a couple of tips on how to move back towards a marriage-centered family. First, create parent time. Not after the kids hit the sack, but right in the middle of the chaos. Brew up a cup of coffee, retreat to the porch, and set the timer with instructions to your children that you both are not to be disturbed until the timer goes off. And anyone who bothers you will earn the gift of consequences. And then you and your spouse talk about anything but the kids. That will be hard. Next, put the interrupt rule into force. The interrupt rule simply says that if two adults are having a conversation, they are not to be interrupted by the child, period. If a child has a pressing need, they simply stand next to the parent they wish to speak to and silently place their hand on the arm of the adult. This gives the parent the signal that the child would like to ask something, but also means that the child will stand patiently quiet until the adult has finished their conversation. The interrupt rule is great while out in public to teach your kids politeness, but it is especially important in the home. To break off your conversation with a spouse to answer a noisy child sends the message that the child is more important than the spouse, and that is a message you do not want to give. Finally, display affection openly. Kids hate this, especially teens. It shows that tenderness, care, and romance are still alive in your relationship. In fact, work hard to let your kids know that while you love them, your affection for your spouse comes before them. Feel free to explain to your older kids that, hey, someday you'll be gone, but we'll still be together. We understand that this may cause some parents to fear that the child will be traumatized or feel unloved by this, but actually the opposite is true. A child will feel deeply secure because one of the greatest worries of children, especially in our culture, is that their parents will divorce. And speaking of, there are some exceptions to this strategy if you have introduced a step-parent into the home, and we will address these in a future video. But do your kids a favor. Give them the best gift a kid could ever ask for. Put your marriage front and center. Someday they will thank you for it. And as always, stay calm and stay consistent.